Hello everybody and welcome to the very first video of the brand new early access for this update in the Hunter Call of the Wild. This update will be going live March 14th to everybody, but we've got it a few days early to show off everything that will be included, and I figured this would be a really good spot to start. We're going to go to the storage right here, and we're going to take a look at the customization because they definitely added a few new skins with this update. And who knows, this might not even be all of them, but we already see a substantial increase in the number of different skins that we've got. We've got a few new sprays. We've got ourselves a couple new materials, including this beautiful matte sand tan metal, which I didn't even know they were going to add different metals that we could add to the barrels, but it seems that they are going to be doing that. We also have a couple different wood patterns, which unfortunately cannot go on the Sarugi 338, which is a little bit of a disappointment, though I get it. It's not typically a wood stock type of rifle. This is a synthetic stock, so I get why we can't do it, but I really wish we could just to have a little bit more freedom. We've also got a couple new camo patterns. I don't know exactly which ones of these are new. I know this one right here is definitely a brand new one. And then we've also got this, which is definitely brand new. And I believe this is also. So there is a few new camo patterns. And we've got a brand new wrap that can go on either of these. It is a more traditional looking camo compared to the orange one that we got previously. But I think the thing that a lot of people are going to be happy about in terms of the skin is the fact that we finally have black. We finally have a black paint option, as well as some more like, I guess, not necessarily as popular colorations, but ones that are still somewhat popular. This, I believe, is OD green, which is great. What do they call it in this? The single, it's just Hirschfeld and green paint. Okay, well, it's basically OD green, maybe a little bit different, but it's still really cool. Now let's take a quick look at how the loadout system will work. So you may notice I've already made a couple of loadouts. This is going to be our moose loadout, and then I've also got this one right here that I've set up. And what you will notice is whenever you switch over, it will save your exact loadout as well as exactly what you had on them. You will see right here it's got the ammo, it's got the scope, and it also has everything in the exact slots that I had them in. This is really nice to see. It's awesome that this is actually something that they thought of. It's not just saving a loadout, but it saves the exact keys that you have it placed on, which is really good. And if you, for some reason, want to change a pre-existing loadout, let's say you want to get rid of one of these 300 Magnums and instead replace it with the brand new 7mm, well, you can do so just by finding the rifle that you want to put in. Honestly, let's do the 308 instead. And then once you've done that, you'll see down here, it'll tell you what you can press to save the loadout. For us on PC, it would be S, and boom, we have now saved that loadout, and it will update it to whatever we just changed it to. Now, obviously, since we just changed that, we're no longer going to have the extra 300 in our hotbar. So we are going to need to drag it over. And then it's as simple as just dragging it over, putting the stuff on that you need, and then going back into there, and I believe clicking save. Actually, I guess it saved it for us already. So now let's make this custom loadout. I just put all of the brand new guns in here. And now we are bringing over all the ammo. In fact, I don't need the 300 Magnum ammo, but we are going to need the 7mm and 308, so let's find those real quickly. There is the 7mm polymer tip and the 308 poly tip. And so now that we've got all our ammo, let's go ahead and grab the first aid kits as well as the binoculars, and we're ready to go. I already got the sights, and now we can go ahead and just press save, and boom, we've got loadout number 3 saved, and we can go through and swap between all of these, which is really nice. I like how they've done this. It actually flows pretty well. Now, unlike the 7mm and the 338, you can put the wood finishes on the 308 bolt action, so at least one of the new rifles can take the wood grain finishes. I wish all of them could. Like I said, it would definitely be nicer, but at least we can do it for the 308, and we're going to do that right there. I think that looks really clean, though I do love this finish as well. I think they're both equally amazing, but we're going to go with this one right here. You know what better place to test out a new weapon pack than on Virhonga Savannah, and I think this is going to be a great one to start out with. We've got ourselves a lesser kudu down there that we will take down with the 7mm let's see just how much of a punch this thing packs. Yeah, I'd say that'll do the trick. That thing dropped like a sack of potatoes right on the spot. Now let's get a look at that beautiful reload animation. Oh man, that is good. I do really like the fact that these are internal magazines, though it does kind of limit the amount of rounds you can have in them. I guess it is kind of cool seeing that animation every time you reload. Now, a couple things that were talked about during the last Expansive Worlds live stream was that they decreased the spook range once again to kind of get it closer to where it used to be, and that they also have made it so animals get to their need zones quicker whenever you change the time. These are a couple really massive changes that I do think are going to be a very big positive for the game. Although there was definitely a few things that not everybody was super happy about with the update, I definitely think that some of the better changes is going to be the spook range being kind of reverted back to normal, but not completely, and then also the need zones being given a little bit of love to where animals should make it to them a little bit quicker. And I just realized that is a minimum weight male kudu to start things off with. What a start to the day. But I think the biggest thing that has got a lot of conflicting opinions is the Trophy Lodge. Now, given a free Trophy Lodge, I never expected it to be incredible. Obviously, it's going to be a step below what we would get in the DLCs, but I was hoping that there would be at least, 10 or 15 mounts that we could place whatever we want to on. So the fact that it's just set mounts for each species as well as one mount that you can put anything on just seems a little bit underwhelming to me. I was really hoping there would be an option to maybe purchase 15 more mounts for 100k. That way you could have another money sink in the game while also getting an option to build up a lodge as you go and add more mounts to it. I think that would be a really good feature, and I hope they do that in the long run for this lodge. Something else you guys may have heard about that we didn't really go too deep into in any of the videos that I've done talking about what we were getting in this update is they've changed the way the perk tree is laid out. So now you actually get zeroing very early. You can get it as soon as like level 8, which is really good. Being able to have access to zeroing is huge in terms of just making accurate long-range shots, especially for a newer player. It used to be a very late game perk that you wouldn't get until you were in level like 20, 30, somewhere in that range. So it was a little bit strange that such a useful perk to newer players was kind of locked very deep into the leveling. So now you can get this from, like I said, like level 8, and that's going to be very helpful because knowing how far an animal is and being able to match the range to the distance of the animal, it can be very huge for making accurate shots. They also made another change regarding being able to predict the distance of the animal. You can now see that in the top right, you can get an estimated distance away from your trophy. Now, there's no specific number that it'll be away from you. It'll just be somewhere within that range. So we know for a fact that this wildebeest we just spotted, this nice level 4, is between 214 and 248 away. And in a lot of cases, that will be enough for you to kind of judge the distance, and it'll make it so you don't really need the range-finding binos as like a necessity of your loadout anymore, which I do think is a good thing, because that'll make it so that you can use any of the binoculars and not really be at too much of a disadvantage. I know some people don't like these range-finding binos because of the giant crosshair in the middle, so being able to use the other ones and just get a slightly less accurate depiction of the distance, I guess that's going to be a nice alternative to using the range-finding binos. And that's going to be a hard shot with the 7mm right into that wildebeest. Alright, let's take a look at the damage on this guy. Yeah, that was a hard shot with the 7mm. Already loving this thing. It's going to be so cool to be able to use a 7mm and have it not take only one round and forever to reload. We're actually going to have a good option for the 7mm finally. And, oh, that's not good. Well, we are going to get a chance to check out this 338 sooner than I had thought. That is going to be one shot into the vitals. And honestly, not too bad. It is already down. Yeah, this 338 is going to be a game changer, especially for Cape Buffalo. Unfortunately, the 300 just had a lot of issues with penetration on Cape Buffalo at long range. If you aimed for the upper half of the lung at 300 meters, there was a decent chance that you would not get penetration to the lung with the 300, so having the 338 as an option now is going to be huge. Given we did already have a 338 in the game, but because it was only a single shot, there was a lot of people that did not use it. So it is nice to have that option for a 5-round mag capacity, the 338, finally in the game. We're going to go ahead and try to take a long-range shot on this Cape Buffalo. It should be around 300 meters away. I really want to see if we can end up getting good penetration with the 338. And honestly, that mythical might be our target instead. It is so nice that we now have these estimated distances. This is honestly huge for guessing what the distance of the shot is going to be without having to use the binos. Let's just get a shot into that guy. Let's hope this was vitals. It was. That is a great thing to see. The 300 would have had a lot of trouble at that range on some occasions. And it already died. That was a really quick death as well. Honestly, this is going to be a game changer for buffalo, lions, moose, things like that. This really will be a game-changing rifle. And also, while I'm thinking of it, I just wanted to point out that we didn't get to see the reload animation with level 3 lightning hands. For those that aren't familiar with it, if you have level 3 lightning hands perk, you actually do reload your guns quicker, and it does change the animations. So the reload that we saw from Jaxie Beard on the EW streams was just kind of a normal reload, but if you have level 3 lightning hands, your reload looks like this. And man, does it look good. Let's try a little bit of a different angle on this Cape Buffalo right here. I really want to see, can we get into the lung at more of a, I guess, forward-facing angle or even a quartering shot like that? I really want to see if we can end up hitting the vitals. This right here is that mythical that we took a shot at from about like 250 meters. Let's get a look at the damage here. That is really nice to see. We hit the scapula and still managed to get the lung. Like I was saying, sometimes the 300 Magnum had trouble getting into a lung without hitting the scapula when you were just aiming at the upper half of the lung. So the fact that 338 goes through the scapula and through the lung at 282 meters is huge. That is a really awesome thing to see. Unfortunately, the shot at that weird off angle did not get good enough penetration to take that female cape down. So we're going to have to do a different test. To be honest, I probably hit too far back. I don't think I let it nearly enough. So we will attempt to get a different weird angle on one of these. Let's get this guy's attention real quickly. And now that he is alert, let's get ready to take kind of a strange angle on him. I definitely want to see how it does right here. And that will be a quick little heart shot. And one more into that mythical. He should be going down very shortly. Let's go ahead and take a look at the damage here. That is some pretty decent penetration. To be honest, it doesn't even show that the bullet got the heart, but it definitely did get the heart because it dropped on the spot. But that is nice to see that you can do a frontal shot from that angle with the 338. Unfortunately, did not hit the vitals on the second shot, and it hasn't even died, so I am liable to believe that I just completely missed the vitals. Well, let's do a quick little test on the spook time. I want to see, they did mention they changed the spook distance, but did they actually change the speed at which animals spook? Because that was also something that got adjusted in the previous update. Let's see if we can get 2 shots off. We hit the same one twice, but I mean, we were able to get 2 shots off with a bolt action before they fled, so that is a good sign. That is a very good sign, and we did hit vitals on that second one right there as well. And quite honestly, with the performance of this 338 so far, this is definitely going to be the gun that I use for my next Great One Moose. 100% we've got to do it. That is not too bad. Now, it still doesn't even look like it gets that far in, but it's definitely hitting vitals more consistently than the 300 does. Now, don't get me wrong, the 300 Magnum is really good for the majority of species within its class range, but Cape Buffalo are the one species where it's always had a little bit of trouble with. So it is nice to see that the 338 will provide a bit more reliability in terms of getting penetration on these big beasts of Cape Buffalo. Well, let's go ahead and test the changes they made to animals getting to their drink zones on time. They did say that they made it so all animals should arrive at their zones a little bit quicker than before. So we're going to test just how quick that is. I have gone to a different lake than where we're going to be hunting just to fully test it, as typically when you're at the lake and you reset the time, they'll be there instantaneously in most scenarios, or at least quicker than if you were far away. So we're out of render right now, and we're going to change the time to lion time. And we're going to go take a look and see if they are instantaneously at this lake over here. So they're definitely not here instantaneously, but they never said it would be instantaneous. So we're going to kind of just hang out here and see how long it takes the animals to actually walk to their zones. And then after they get here, we're going to go to all the other lakes and see if those lakes also have their animals in their zones as well. Well, they have officially arrived at their zone in about 18 minutes. Honestly, that is not bad. 18 in-game minutes. And we already have some lions here, so they definitely are moving in at a decent rate, but the real test is going to be the black bear. Let's do a quick little test to see if the bears finally make it to their zone in a reasonable amount of time. Previously, they didn't arrive at their zone until about 3 hours into their drink time, which, as you could imagine, really is not ideal. We're going to change it to 2010 and see how long it takes for bears to start reliably showing up at their zones. Well, there we have it. Our very first bear has shown up at 2037, so about 28 minutes into the drink time. We do have a bear here, given it's not all of them, and I believe before I did always have a couple bears that would arrive early, but the majority of them didn't arrive until 2.5 to 3 hours into the drink time. So provided they get here before 22:30, I'll be quite happy. Well, as we wait for more bears to come in, let's go ahead and take our first shot with the brand new 308 bolt action and take down this little pronghorn right here. And the 308 bolt doing exactly what we expected it to do. Very similar to the 308 AR, but obviously a bolt action. And that right there is exactly what we expect from the 308. 77.57 on the score, but what we're really concerned about is the damage on this thing. Look at the penetration. 308 has always been one of my favorite calibers in the game ever since they added it with the modern rifles pack. It still is such a good caliber for stuff like deer and pronghorn, and even clear up to stuff like elk if you really want to use it on them. Well, we have found our second bear at around 2056. I am going to assume that they're going to start moving in a little bit more consistently now. Does seem like we are starting to see some of them show up. Well, we've got a couple bears at this lake, which is really awesome to see. Again, it's only 2105, so this is definitely a massive improvement compared to what it was previously. Let's get this guy's attention, and then we're going to take it down with the 7mm. Unfortunately, the spotting outline seems a little bit broken. It's not actually showing the outline whenever I'm using the scope at certain distances. That is going to be a shot directly into it, though, and that is another bear running past us. So I would definitely say they get to their zones much quicker than before. That is 3 bears, more than an hour before they would typically be at their zones. Get her down real quickly, provided we can actually hit a vital shot. And that will do it right there. This 7mm really does pack a punch, and the sound is really amazing as well. But I think we all know what the king of the bears is going to be. I cannot wait to test the 338 out on them. I think it's going to be a game changer for the bear grind as well as the moose grind. It really is just going to make things 10 times faster than before. That was just a liver shot right there with the 7mm, and it took it down pretty quickly. Honestly, all these new guns in this weapon pack are going to be very widely used, I feel. And once again, we've got another bear at 2116, so they definitely do get to the zones quicker. It's definitely not perfect. I'd say more could be done to improve the reliability of them, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. They're more reliable, but still having to wait an hour to see them in their zones is still a little bit rough. And I know there's probably a few people that'll be like, oh, but Scarecrow, it's a hunting game that you're not supposed to have predictability. Well, this isn't your normal hunting game. This isn't your average hunting game. Over the years, need zones have become a pretty important part of the game, and the majority of players rely on need zones to know where to find their animals, so it is important that they are somewhat reliable and aren't completely broken like they were previously, where you would have to wait 3 hours just to see a bear in its zone. And to be honest, I think I know what they wanted to do here. I think what they wanted to do was make it a little bit more reliable without making it completely predictable, which I do think is probably a good middle ground. Though I may not see it as being perfect, I may want them to be a bit more consistent. I can totally see why they would have done it like this, where they're more consistent than previously, but still aren't 100% predictable. It does make it a little bit more random than if they were just always instantly at their zone. So I get it. But it sure would make the grinds easier if they were there instantaneously. Let's see what the damage is here. That was just, and I clicked through it. Well, it was a single lung hit, so definitely explains why it died somewhat slow. Unfortunate, I accidentally clicked through it. Although we are definitely seeing bears in their zones a little bit easier, it's going to be hard to fully know the extent of it until we actually get a chance to grind them whenever this patch fully releases, because I'm not going to start a grind in early access. That would be kind of pointless since we wouldn't be able to keep anything we got from it. So we will wait until the full release of this update on March 14th before we actually do some major grinding to fully test the new changes. And to end things off, let's go ahead and customize our Layton Lakes trophy cabin with as much as we can possibly put up here. We're just going to do a basic look at it, kind of, to show you guys what it could look like when you fully flesh it out. Let's get an albino red deer there. I don't have any roe deer. I'll probably have to pull one from another lodge, but we definitely have ourselves some moose trophies, and I think this is going to be a great one to put there. Not a great one, but a good trophy to put there. So I don't have every single mount filled, but you guys get the idea. It's a lodge just for your basic base game animals, one of each kind. You can change the poses just like any of the others, and I'm assuming that you can probably rotate it as well. Possibly? Let's see. Yeah, you can still rotate the amounts, so basic trophy lodge functionality, just a bit more limited with only being able to do one of each base game species from Hirschfelden and Layton Lakes, as well as one mount where you can put just whatever you want on there. I would definitely reserve this mount for something like a breadwinner multi-mount. If you're going to use it for a multi-mount like that, definitely would recommend trying to get the most out of it by using one of the larger mounts that has a lot of animals in it. But it's a cool addition as a free trophy lodge, though. I do think it would be great if you could purchase different plaques throughout the lodge. Like, maybe instead of having so much stuff on the wall, like right through here, maybe you could have, like, let's say 3 slots available there. You can purchase this wall worth of mounts for like 50k currency, and you get 3 more spots to put trophies. Maybe you want to go into one of these other rooms, and maybe instead of, like, some paintings on the wall, maybe you could have like 2 or 3 mounts right there for another 50k, and keep going until you get like 20 new mounts. I think that would be kind of a cool aspect to it. I hope they do something like that in the future. It would definitely give more versatility to this free lodge and make it not feel so limited, because it does seem very, very limited in a lot of ways. Though there's a lot of cool stuff with it, I will admit. It's a beautiful lodge. The whole look of it is great, but would definitely just love to see more mounts. But anyway, guys, that is going to be the end of this first look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a comment down below and let me know what you think of the new weapon pack. Let me know what you think of the other stuff with this new update, and I will try to respond to as many as possible, as always. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. We post content like this all the time, updates on the new updates, as well as just daily uploads in general. And yeah, we have a lot of fun here, so if you're new, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace!